The Galactic Council had made its decision. Earth was not ready. The humans had shown remarkable progress in their short time in the galaxy, but it wasn't enough. They were too wild, too unpredictable. The Council had spoken. Earth would be locked out. Humanity would remain in isolation, left to continue its path of self-destruction. The news spread quickly across the Earth's major governments and military establishments. People were stunned. They had known their planet wasn't on the best terms with the galactic powers, but to be completely shut out. It was a blow unlike any they had ever experienced. The Council's ruling was cold, calculated, and final. The galaxy's most powerful species would continue their affairs without the interference of Earth, and that was that. At the heart of Earth's leadership, one man, General Samuel Turner, couldn't accept it. He wasn't a politician or a diplomat. He was a soldier, a warrior. He had seen firsthand the power of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations, and yet he believed in humanity. Turner understood the humans of Earth were capable of things that the galaxy could never predict, things they would never see coming. He had heard the rumors, whispers of a secret project that could change everything. Turner stood on the balcony of his office, overlooking the bustling city of New York. The sky was dark, the air thick with the weight of uncertainty. The decision had been made, but he had a different vision. He wasn't about to sit by and let Earth fall into the shadows of galactic indifference. There had to be a way to prove the galaxy wrong. They couldn't just abandon humanity now. There was too much potential, too much strength. The Council was blind, but humanity had its own future to fight for, a future that didn't rely on the approval of other species. His mind raced as he considered the possibilities. What if they could build something that would force the galaxy to acknowledge Earth? A weapon? No, something even greater. He had heard stories of old technologies buried deep beneath the surface of Earth's history, technologies that had been lost to time. What if they could resurrect something ancient and long forgotten? Something so powerful, it would shake the foundations of the galaxy. But such a project needed more than just belief. It needed resources, technology, and the right people to make it happen. Turner knew he couldn't do this alone. The task would require the best scientists, engineers, and military minds from all over Earth. He would need people who weren't afraid to risk everything for the future of humanity. He reached for his communicator, pressing a button that connected him directly to the top leaders in Earth's space program. The time for quiet planning was over. It was time to make his move. Meanwhile, in a hidden underground lab in the desert of Nevada, Dr. Elena Diaz worked tirelessly on what had been dubbed the Phoenix Initiative. She wasn't just any scientist. She was one of the brightest minds Earth had ever produced. Elena's work had always been on the cutting edge of human advancement. But this project, this was different. It was her life's work. And now, it seemed, the fate of the entire planet rested on her shoulders. Elena had always known that Earth's future lay in the hands of the few who dared to dream beyond the stars. But she had never imagined it would come down to something like this. The Phoenix Initiative wasn't just about building another ship or weapon. It was about unlocking a force of nature, something that would give humanity the power to shape its destiny, to control the very energy that coursed through the universe. She had spent years studying ancient texts and artifacts, decoding the secrets left behind by forgotten civilizations. Over time, Elena had come to realize that there was one truth. Earth's ancestors had once harnessed power far beyond the understanding of even today's most advanced species. There were hints of it in the remnants of old technologies, traces of something greater, something lost. The Phoenix Initiative was her attempt to resurrect that lost power. But there were risks that even she wasn't fully prepared for. The energy they were tapping into was unstable. If they weren't careful, they could destroy everything. As she stared at the complex blueprints before her, her thoughts were interrupted by a sudden message. It was from General Turner. The message was simple but urgent. "We need you, Dr. Diaz. It's time to start the next phase. Humanity's future depends on it." Elena's heart raced. She had known this day would come, but now that it was here, The weight of the task felt almost unbearable. She turned toward the team of engineers and scientists working around her, all of them aware of the importance of what they were building. It wasn't just a weapon. It was the key to humanity's survival. As the message came through, Alina made her decision. She couldn't wait for the approval of the Council or any other galactic authority. Earth's future lay with humanity itself. It was time to show the galaxy what humans were capable of. The following weeks were a blur. General Turner worked in tandem with Dr. Dias to bring together the best minds from across Earth's nations. They had one mission: to finish the Phoenix Initiative and make it ready for battle. The project's true purpose remained a closely guarded secret, even from most of Earth's leaders. The Council had made their judgment, and now Earth would show them what it meant to underestimate humanity. Alina's team worked tirelessly, day and night, assembling the pieces of what was soon to be the most powerful energy weapon in existence. The energy source they were tapping into was unstable, capable of destroying anything in its path. But with Alina's genius and Turner's military experience, they had learned to harness it, control it, and direct it. As they moved closer to completing the Phoenix Initiative, there was a growing sense of anticipation. The people of Earth didn't yet know what their leaders had planned, but in the heart of the military, in the secret labs, and in the minds of the few who knew, there was a burning determination. Earth wasn't going to fall quietly. They would rise, and they would make the galaxy listen. The day of the test arrived, and with it, the first real glimpse of Earth's power. As the countdown began, Alina stood in the control room, her hand poised above the activation switch. Turner stood beside her, his face grim, but his eyes alight with hope. The time for secrecy was over. This weapon, this new power, would be revealed to the galaxy, and they would either accept humanity as equals or face the consequences of their mistake. The countdown reached 0. The Phoenix Initiative was activated. As the energy surged and the ground beneath them trembled, both Alina and Turner knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The shockwave sent ripples across the planet, a brilliant flash of light that lit up the skies, and the world watched in awe. They had done it. Earth had shown the galaxy that it was no longer to be underestimated. But this was only the beginning. The galaxy would soon know that humanity was not a race to be ignored. They had found their strength, and they were ready to forge their own future. The Council might have shut them out, but Earth would no longer be a passive player in the galaxy. Humanity had become a force to be reckoned with. The Phoenix Initiative was now operational. The immense power of the weapon was a force that neither the Council nor any other galactic power had anticipated. General Turner and Dr. Dias watched as the energy tests confirmed the unimaginable capabilities of the weapon. It was clear that humanity had just unlocked something far beyond what anyone had thought possible. Earth had crossed a threshold, and they knew it was only a matter of time before the entire galaxy would feel the shockwaves. But Turner knew that even with such power, Earth was not yet safe. The Council had cast humanity aside with little regard, but they were not foolish. They knew the decision would lead to more than just a political rift. The galaxy was vast and powerful, and the mighty species that inhabited it would not tolerate Earth's rise for long. There would be consequences. As the weeks passed, Earth began to prepare for the inevitable conflict. But this time, Earth was no longer the underdog. The Phoenix Initiative had changed everything. They weren't just humans anymore. They were a force to be reckoned with, capable of defending themselves against any threat. Across the world, leaders came together to form a new alliance, an Earth that stood united, ready to confront whatever the galaxy threw at them. News of the successful activation of the Phoenix Initiative spread quickly, and although the majority of the galaxy hadn't yet understood the true scale of the weapon, the whispers had begun. There was talk of a new power emerging, a power unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Some in the galactic capital cities laughed it off as a fluke, but others, those with eyes on the future, saw it for what it was: a challenge. The Council, despite their earlier confidence in shutting Earth out, couldn't ignore the fact that Earth was becoming something much larger than they had ever intended. It wasn't just the weapon that had changed the balance of power. Humanity, for the first time, was working together with a single purpose, pushing beyond the boundaries of what had been thought possible. The cooperation between the world's nations, once fragmented and divided, was now a united force. Scientists, engineers, military strategists, and political leaders all shared a common goal: to ensure Earth's place in the galaxy. Turner, always a man of action, was not content to wait for an enemy to come knocking. He was already planning for the future. His mission was clear: protect Earth, no matter the cost. He knew the Council would send an emissary, perhaps even an invasion fleet, to remind humanity of its place in the galaxy. But this time, Earth would not be caught off guard. Turner began to assemble an elite task force. Scientists would continue their work on the Phoenix Initiative, perfecting it, making it more deadly and efficient. Meanwhile, military leaders would prepare the defense of the planet, reinforcing every aspect of Earth's security with the full might of their newfound power. And Earth would begin reaching out to other systems, other races who may have been hidden in the shadows, watching Earth's rise. Not all aliens were allies of the Council. There were those who saw the injustice in humanity's exclusion. There were those who had their own reasons for not wanting to see Earth fall. Turner knew that this was the beginning of a galactic shift. While the galaxy might have laughed at Earth before, now there was something different. Humanity wasn't just fighting for survival. It was fighting for its right to exist as equals among the stars. They had found their voice, and now they were ready to make the galaxy listen. As the days passed, Elena and her team worked to expand the Phoenix Initiative, unlocking new capabilities and refining its power. But it wasn't just about the weapon. The Phoenix Initiative was a symbol that Earth would no longer be pushed aside. The galaxy was about to witness a revolution, one that started with the tiniest spark of defiance. No longer content to be a spectator in the great game of galactic politics, Earth was ready to play its part. But the question remained: would the galaxy accept humanity's place, or would they attempt to silence Earth before it had a chance to prove its worth? General Turner knew that the answer to that question was coming, and when it did, Earth would be ready. The tensions in the galaxy were palpable. Every faction, every race, was waiting, watching, as Earth's rise continued to send ripples across the stars. As humanity began to reinforce its position, the Council's diplomats were working tirelessly to control the narrative, desperately trying to prevent any more systems from joining Earth's growing coalition. They had underestimated humanity, and now the consequences were beginning to take shape. General Turner's task force was growing stronger by the day, and Elena's work on the Phoenix Initiative had started to reveal its true potential. Earth's space fleet was bolstered by the initiative's energy-based weapons, capable of taking down ships that once seemed indestructible. But Turner wasn't satisfied with just defense. He knew that the Council would never allow Earth to remain an equal player in the galactic stage. They would either try to destroy humanity's newfound power, or they would enslave them, force them to obey as they had done for so many years. Earth's new weaponry wasn't just about defending their world. It was about setting a precedent. It was about showing the galaxy that humanity would no longer be a passive spectator. Humanity would no longer be cast aside. While the political forces on Earth continued to work on maintaining alliances and preparing for the worst, Turner knew that it wasn't enough to just stay defensive. Earth needed to send a message, a clear signal that the days of being an afterthought were over. So he made the bold decision to take the first step, to strike first. It was a calculated risk, one that could either send the galaxy into chaos or force the Council to negotiate. Turner sent a message to the closest galactic power, a long-standing ally of the Council, offering them a choice. Either they would join Earth's growing coalition and support humanity's rise, or they would face the wrath of the Phoenix Initiative. The response came quickly. The Council's allies were unwilling to align themselves with a power they had long believed to be insignificant. Instead, they sent an emissary, a representative who would come to Earth, demanding its submission. The envoy's arrival on Earth was met with both curiosity and defiance. The representatives of Earth were united, all knowing that this moment was a turning point. The emissary's message was clear. Earth could never be allowed to join the galactic fold. The emissary's threats were equally blunt. Should Earth refuse to comply, they would face consequences. The emissary left, his words lingering in the air like a heavy weight. Earth, however, was undeterred. The message had been sent, and it was now up to the Council to respond. The weeks that followed were tense. General Turner's forces continued their preparations, now joined by allies from various corners of the galaxy, some hidden for centuries, watching humanity's rise with awe. These new allies had their own reasons for joining Earth's cause, each with their own stories of oppression by the Council, and they had been waiting for the right moment to take action. As their numbers grew, so did Earth's confidence. But still, the question remained, would the Council attack, or would they negotiate? Turner knew that, no matter the Council's decision, humanity was no longer a pawn in the galaxy's game. They were players. And soon, the galaxy would realize that the game had changed forever. Earth was no longer a mere outcast, and the Phoenix Initiative was proof of that. The once weak planet had become a beacon of defiance, a shining light in the dark expanse of space, daring to challenge the powers that had once cast it aside. As the days wore on, the news of Earth's defiance spread further, and each passing moment made one thing clear. Earth had ignited a fire that could not be extinguished. No longer would they be silenced by the powers that be. They had forged their own path, and the galaxy would soon know what it meant to face the wrath of a united humanity. The moment had arrived, and Earth was ready. Ready to face the Council, ready to change the galaxy forever. The Council had underestimated humanity's resolve. As news of Earth's defiance spread, it sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy, with each faction waiting for the Council's next move. Would they retaliate with overwhelming force, or would they finally acknowledge the rise of a new power? The emissary's warning still echoed in the minds of Earth's leaders, but no one on Earth was willing to back down. General Turner, now more determined than ever, gathered his most trusted commanders. They knew the Council would come, but they didn't know when or how. Earth had taken a step into the unknown, and there was no turning back. The military forces on Earth had grown stronger, thanks to the advanced technologies brought forth by the Phoenix Initiative. They had built fleets that were far superior to anything the galaxy had seen before, and with each new weapon tested, they only became more confident in their ability to face whatever came next. Yet there was still a nagging sense of uncertainty. The galaxy was vast, and even with all of Earth's newfound power, they were still a small player compared to the galactic empires. Still, Earth's leadership, from the highest-ranking generals to the civilian representatives, stood firm. A massive assembly was held, where Earth's future was debated in the halls of the newly formed Global Council, a group of representatives from every nation on Earth. Would they continue with the Phoenix Initiative and take the fight to the stars? Or would they seek diplomacy with the Council, hoping to avoid war? The debate was fierce. Some, like President Lara Edwards, argued that Earth should be ready to fight, to use their new strength to defend themselves and take their place in the galactic community. Others, however, believed that there was still hope for a peaceful resolution. It was during this heated debate that a new message arrived, an encrypted transmission from the Council's highest leaders. The message was clear, almost too blunt in its terms. Earth's rebellion would be met with destruction. The Council's fleets were mobilizing, and their ultimate goal was simple. Earth would be brought back into the fold, one way or another. The message sent ripples of fear through Earth's leaders, but it also ignited something deeper, a fire of defiance that no one could extinguish. Earth would not bend. They had endured too much, fought too hard, and sacrificed too much to let themselves be crushed by an empire that had no interest in justice. In the days that followed, the Phoenix Initiative went into full effect. Earth's fleets were deployed, and their leaders made one final decision. They would fight, but they would not fight alone. Across the galaxy, hidden rebel forces, outcasts, and forgotten species began to rally to Earth's cause. Each one had their own stories of oppression, of betrayal, and they saw Earth's rise as their last chance at freedom. With every passing day, Earth's alliances grew stronger and their fleets grew larger. They were no longer a planet fighting alone. They had become the symbol of resistance, and the galaxy's underdogs, once too afraid to act, were now stepping forward, united under one banner. But just as Earth prepared for war, the Council made its move. Their fleets, vast and ancient, began to move toward Earth's system. The first wave of ships entered Earth's orbit, their arrival marking the beginning of what would become the most significant battle in galactic history. Earth was ready, but they had no illusions about the odds stacked against them. The battle that would follow would not just determine Earth's fate, it would change the course of the galaxy forever. Earth's fleet, now bolstered by their new allies, prepared to defend their home with everything they had. General Turner stood on the bridge of the lead ship, looking out at the approaching enemy fleet. His mind raced with the knowledge that this was it. This was the moment that would decide if humanity would rise, or if they would be crushed beneath the boot of the Council. But there was no fear in Turner's eyes. There was only determination. Humanity would not fall. Earth would not be silenced. As the enemy ships approached, Turner issued the order. The time for diplomacy had passed. The time for action had arrived. The battle began with a roar. The first shots fired, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Earth had declared its independence, and the galaxy was about to witness the full strength of a united humanity. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Earth's ships, though outnumbered, fought with an intensity and strategy that even the Council's vast forces hadn't anticipated. General Turner, at the helm of the largest ship in Earth's fleet, barked commands to his commanders, guiding them through the chaos. The enemy fleets, with their massive warships and advanced technologies, were slowly being pushed back as the new Earth forces adapted to the Council's tactics. Every human, from the engineers working tirelessly to repair the ships to the soldiers in the cockpits of their fighters, had one singular goal: survival. They knew that if they didn't hold their ground now, Earth would fall forever. But with every passing minute, the stakes grew higher. The Council's ships unleashed waves of laser fire, tearing through the space around Earth's ships. Yet Earth's fleet adapted quickly, weaving through the barrages and countering with precision. Their new weapons, designed specifically for this moment, were turning the tide. It was clear to the Council's commanders that Earth's forces were not the same as they had been before, but they were not backing down, and they would not show mercy. Even as Earth's ships began to break through the first wave of the Council's attack, the next wave arrived. A massive, colossal ship, larger than any Earth had ever seen, appeared on the horizon, and its weapons immediately opened fire. The sheer power of the ship sent shockwaves through the battle, and for a moment, Earth's fleet hesitated. But they quickly regained their resolve. This was their fight. Their freedom was at stake. Earth's commanders rallied their forces, using every trick in the book to avoid direct confrontation with the behemoth and strike where it would hurt the most. The enemy fleet was not invincible. They had learned the hard way that Earth's ingenuity was a force to be reckoned with. As the battle wore on, the vast fleet of the Council found itself struggling to keep up with Earth's tactics. Where the Council was rigid and expected Earth to submit, the humans proved they could outthink and outmaneuver their adversaries. Every fleet of rebel ships, those who had once been too small to matter, now played a crucial role. They harried the enemy, striking from unexpected angles, and their ships, though not as advanced, were relentless in their pursuit of victory. The galaxy was starting to take notice. News spread across the star systems. The Council had always been seen as a nearly invincible force, but now, Earth had shown them that even the smallest, most insignificant of planets could hold their own. Humanity was no longer a pawn to be controlled. They were an empire in the making. As the first massive council ship fell to Earth's combined efforts, a new wave of hope spread throughout the rebellion. The council's invincible aura had been shattered. But there was still much to be done. Earth's forces had just won a major victory, but the fight was far from over. The council still had its vast numbers, and Earth had lost too many ships and men to let their guard down. With the first major victory behind them, Earth's fleet regrouped, readying for the next phase. The council might have more ships, but Earth had something they couldn't replicate: unity. As Earth's leaders continued to coordinate their forces, General Turner met with President Lara Edwards to discuss the next steps. They both knew that the Council would not give up easily. Their defeat in this battle would only lead to a harder fight, one that would take everything Earth had to offer. But it was no longer just about survival. It was about showing the galaxy that Earth could not, and would not, be silenced. The Council had underestimated humanity's resilience, and now they were beginning to realize the true power of Earth. The galaxy would never be the same, and the fight was far from over. Earth had proven itself in battle, but there was a long road ahead. They would need to rally more allies, strengthen their forces, and keep pushing forward. For the first time in galactic history, the Council was not the unchallenged ruler. They had met their match, and the fate of the galaxy rested on the outcome of the conflict between Earth and the Council. As the war continued to rage on, Earth's newfound resilience began to spread like wildfire across the galaxy. The once helpless humans who had been cast out by the Council were now a beacon of defiance, rallying more and more systems to their cause. The rebellion grew stronger with every passing day, fueled by the victories that Earth's fleet had achieved against the odds. Despite the Council's overwhelming numbers, their grip on the galaxy was weakening. The galaxy had never seen anything like this before. A planet that had been cast aside by the most powerful force in the universe, now rising to challenge that very power. As Earth's leaders, military commanders, and diplomats worked tirelessly to unite more planets and star systems under their banner, the Council was becoming increasingly paranoid. The loss of one ship, then another, and then entire fleets was more than just a military setback. It was a challenge to their authority, something that had never happened before. For centuries, the Council had held the galaxy in its iron grip, and now they were starting to lose control. General Turner's strategic genius and the human force's willingness to adapt had turned the tide in ways the Council never expected. They had underestimated humanity, thinking that Earth's people were weak and divided. But what they didn't account for was the strength that came from being pushed to the edge. The people of Earth had always been resilient, always able to adapt, to fight for survival against all odds. And now, with their backs against the wall, humanity was proving that it could thrive in the face of adversity. As Earth's forces made their way to the heart of the Council's power, each victory felt like a small step toward freedom for the galaxy. The Council's once impregnable fortress, which had been thought to be invincible, was now in danger of falling. The battle for the future of the galaxy was in full swing, and Earth was at the center of it. The Council's upper ranks began to turn on one another as their once unified command structure started to unravel. There were whispers of betrayal, of leaders within the Council questioning their decisions. They had never faced a threat like Earth before. And now, as their ships were destroyed one by one, the cracks in their unity were becoming evident. The galaxy, once a collection of systems controlled by the Council's will, was now a fractured landscape, with Earth's light shining brightly in the midst of the chaos. The rebellion's success had brought hope to planets that had long suffered under the Council's rule, and they began to rise up as well, joining the fight against their former oppressors. With Earth leading the charge, more systems broke free from the Council's grasp, and the once unimaginable began to feel like a very real possibility: the fall of the Council. Yet, despite all the victories, the war was far from over. Earth still faced immense challenges. The Council's remaining forces were regrouping, and they had not yet thrown their full weight into the conflict. But the momentum was clearly shifting. Earth had not only survived, but had become the symbol of resistance throughout the galaxy. It was no longer just about revenge for their exile. It was about ensuring that no one else would suffer the same fate Earth had endured. The Council, once seen as the supreme power in the galaxy, was now on the defensive. And with every new ally Earth gained, the Council's position weakened further. Yet even as Earth's forces pressed on, there were moments of doubt. The weight of the war bore heavily on the shoulders of Earth's leaders. President Lara Edwards, though resolute, often found herself questioning the cost of their continued defiance. How many more lives would be lost? How many more families would grieve before the war was over? The Council, despite its cracks, was still formidable. And the people of Earth, though determined, had paid a high price for every victory they claimed. But every time doubt crept in, Earth's people stood stronger, as if to prove that no matter what, they would fight for the future they believed in. General Turner knew that the path ahead would not be easy. The next stage of the battle would bring even tougher challenges. But he also knew one thing for sure: humanity would not bow down. They had already shown the galaxy that they were not to be underestimated, and they would continue to fight until the Council was no more. Their future was in their hands now, and they would make sure that the galaxy remembered their name. Earth had been cast out, but now it was forging its destiny, and no one would stop them. The final push came with a force that sent shockwaves through the galaxy. Earth's rebellion had grown into something far greater than anyone had anticipated. The Council, once a symbol of unity and power, now stood divided and on the brink of collapse. Every day, more systems that had once been under their control rallied to Earth's cause, and the fleets that had once been the Council's pride were now falling one by one. It was no longer just a war for survival or revenge. It was a battle for the soul of the galaxy. Humanity had fought to defend their future, but now they were fighting to ensure that no one else would suffer the same fate they had. The tide had turned, and Earth was leading the charge toward a new era. General Turner stood before his command, staring at the battlefield that lay ahead. They were ready. For months, they had prepared for this moment. The final assault on the Council's stronghold. The Council's forces had retreated to a distant sector, gathering their strength for one last stand. It was a desperate attempt to reclaim their control, but Earth was no longer the helpless planet they once thought it to be. The battle for the Council's capital world was fierce, unlike anything Earth's forces had faced before. The Council's war machines were massive, and their defenses were nearly impenetrable. But Earth had something the Council never expected: a fighting spirit that could not be broken. As the first wave of Earth's ships engaged the enemy, a roar of defiance erupted across the fleet. The sound of humanity's collective will reverberated through the comms, and for a moment, even the Council's soldiers hesitated. They had never seen such determination, such unity. The attack was relentless. The battle raged on for hours, turning the sky above the capital world into a storm of fire and destruction. Earth's fleets, outnumbered but not outmatched, pressed on with unwavering courage. Every strike, every maneuver, seemed to send a message to the Council. Earth would not back down. It was a message that resonated across the galaxy. As the battle reached its peak, the Council's leadership began to crumble. Their leaders, once untouchable, were now in disarray. The rebellion was no longer just an insurgency. It was the future of the galaxy. The Council's ships began to fall in droves, and their remaining forces scattered in a desperate bid to escape. But it was too late. The rebellion had won. Earth had forged an empire. The galaxy that had once been dominated by the Council now stood on the brink of a new age. Earth's leaders, including President Edwards and General Turner, knew that their victory was not just a triumph over the Council. It was a triumph for every world that had been oppressed, for every race that had suffered under the Council's rule. The future was now in the hands of the people, not the Council. The victory was bittersweet. Though the war was over, the cost had been immense. Thousands of lives had been lost on both sides, and countless families had been torn apart. Yet, despite the tragedy, there was hope. The rebellion had proven that even in the darkest of times, humanity could rise above. They had taken their future into their own hands and had proven that no one, no matter how powerful, could ever take that away from them. As the dust settled and the last remnants of the Council's forces were driven out, Earth's leaders turned their attention to rebuilding. But this time, they were not alone. The galaxy, once fractured and oppressed, now stood united under the banner of Earth's defiance. The new era had begun, and humanity would lead it. It was a new beginning, one where the people of Earth would forge their own destiny and ensure that the mistakes of the past were never repeated. The Council had fallen, but the legacy of their reign lived on as a reminder of the strength and resolve of those who had stood against them. Earth had been cast out, but now it was the heart of a new empire, one that would never be defeated. As President Edwards looked out at the stars, she knew that this victory was just the beginning. The universe had changed forever, and humanity was at the center of that change. No longer would they be looked down upon as weak or insignificant. The galaxy had learned a powerful lesson: never underestimate humanity. For Earth, the war had been more than just a fight for survival. It had been a declaration that they would never be silenced again. The galaxy would never forget the day when Earth rose from exile to become the most powerful force in the universe.